Hello, everyone. One of the attorneys from the airplane crash for Ethiopian Air gave me a task. He said, if you think that MCAS is liable in this case, now MCAS is a $100 million corporation, not for profit. It's been around for over 100 plus years. And we have documentation that on several federal contracts that say ANSI, ANAB are underwriters for the International Accreditation Form, which is incorporated in Delaware. By them being an underwriter, they take all systematic and product failure. Everything that happens in the system, everything that happens to the product, because that's basically a guarantee of quality integrity. But as we find out, as we dug deeper into this, we find out that the quality and integrity and the confidence in that certificate that is accredited by ANSI ANAB is suspect. This video right now, the title is Warning the Flying Public, the Legalities of Boeing's Relationship with the FAA. Yes, I'm going to say this. I'm going to tell you this in every one of these videos. I was down on April 17th to support Sam Salipar, the whistleblower. Yes. And I was down there, of course. I have paperwork that corroborates what he's saying, and it's worse. Boeing gave up supplier auditing. At least that's what's alluded to on the supplier procurement bulletin of 2002. For 22 years they've been doing it, or at least until the Ethiopian and Indonesian airline went down 17 years later in 2018-19. I rounded it off to give you 17 years, or 16 and 17 years respectively. And this is what we have here. We're going to continue on. I am going to show you this. These are the 4 government agencies that you see sitting on ANSI ANAB's board, paying a fee to maintain their membership, along with Boeing, who utilizes ANSI ANAB for their accreditation body. So can we have confidence in the integrity and quality of one of those ANSI ANAB certificates? Absolutely not. And we prove it time and time and time again. So we're going to go into the FAA. But I want to show you this, just a cursory view. ANSI is the American National Standards Institute. It's a private, not-for-profit, non-governmental corporation, has federal agencies and corporations on board. ANSI took over complete control over ANAB in 2018. Also, they sat on ANSI ANAB sat on the IF during the time when the Communist Chinese national Zhao Xinwu, who was mandated by his country of origin to take our data through the China National Intelligence Law, Article number 7. He is also, at this time, when he was handed over chairmanship of the IF, he was the chief executive of the China National Accreditation Services in Beijing, China, and he was also standing in the laboratory in Wuhan, China, that released the COVID virus. We have the documents that all corroborate this. He gave the certificate of laboratory accreditation to an ill-prepared laboratory. So, and on top of that, the China National Accreditation Services and ANSI ANAB, it's equivalent to it. So that means any sort of legal liabilities, you don't go after China, you go after ANSI ANAB and the IAF. Because, as you see here, ANSI is the founder. Okay, they are the founder of the IAF, and ANAB is the affiliate. Here you go. I want to just give you a taste of how our government is lying to us, telling us a big fib. In 2009, Boeing was made an FAA regulator. It means they are an agency of the FAA. It states here, the FAA increased the authority of Boeing's Commercial Airplanes Division to self-certify its own aircraft. Authority extended Boeing under the new system allows Boeing employees to perform tasks on behalf of the FAA that include oversight of testing and product standards, along with certification of aircraft technologies. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the MCAS system for Ethiopian and Indonesian Air, and new aircraft designs. That's Sam Salipar, a whistleblower deposition, April 17, 2024, Washington, D.C. DHS Subcommittee. Boeing's inspection work is already delegated to FAA-appointed in-house company inspectors who report most of their findings. Most. Shouldn't it be like all of them? That brings your confidence level up. In 2019, the FAA spokesman, after the crashes of Ethiopian and Indonesian Air, he came out in an email and he said, The FAA has never allowed companies to police themselves or self-certify their own aircraft. Let me read this to you from 2009. The FAA increased the authority of Boeing's commercial airplanes division to self-certify its own aircraft. Something's going on here, right? So let's go on with this. The relationship between the Federal Aviation Administration and the International Aerospace Quality Group, which, ladies and gentlemen, I have to show this to you. Yes, the IAQG, which handles the online system, aircraft system for OASIS, which is the Online Aerospace Supplier Information Systems. They too also sit on ANSI ANAB's board. So we will go back. The relationship between the Federal Aviation Administration and the International Aerospace Quality Group, IAQG, American National Standards Institute, and the American National Accreditation Board, and Boeing raises several legal issues. So let me tell you, in 2003, ANSI ANAB came out with a Heads Up 22 that discusses about the OASIS database. It said on 4.2, it said, a company who is AS9100 certified does not have the right to get off OASIS database. If they do, take their cert away. 4.3 states a AS9100 certified organization cannot refuse to pay database fees for OASIS. If they do, take their cert away. Is that about quality? No. The FAA's membership on ANSI ANAB, which accredits Boeing, may raise concerns about conflicts of interest and regulatory independence. Some laws and regulations that might be relevant. Federal Aviation Act prohibits conflicts of interest and requires the FAA to maintain independence in its regulatory decisions. As I said, they made Boeing an FAA regulator. They broke the law themselves. 49 U.S.C. Aviation, Federal Aviation Act mandates the FAA to promote safety and regulate aviation without undue influence from the industry. Don't you think it's undue influence when the FAA sits on ANSI ANAB's board right over by Boeing? Think about that one. 5 CFR 2635, Federal Ethics Regulations, bars federal employees, including FAA staff, from participating in matters where they have a financial interest and where their impartiality may be questioned. As I said, a Gordon Gillerman from NIST sits on ANSI ANAB's board getting $120K a year with their federal salary. And also you have Phil Matheson. He was sitting on as a DHS representative on ANSI getting $262,000 plus his federal salary. OMB circular, federal participation in development and use of voluntary consensus standards requires federal agencies to participate in standard setting activities like ANSI ANAB while maintaining their regulatory independence. They don't. They sit on the same board, ladies and gentlemen. It isn't independent, whether it's FAA, FTC, etc. Revolving door provisions, 18 U.S.C. restricts former federal employees' ability to lobby, represent private interests before their former agencies, which is the DHS and NIST, as I told you. Antitrust laws. ANSI ANAB's activities may be subject to antitrust scrutiny, particularly in their actions, restrain trade, and create monopolies. I've got proof of that. Standard Development Organization requires SDO like ANSI ANAB to follow procedures ensuring transparency, openness, and due process. They have members on their board. It doesn't show due process. The FAA's involvement with IAQG, ANSI, and ANAB, while Boeing is a significant player, may cause concerns about regulatory capture, conflicts of interest, undue industry influence, lack of transparency, and accountability. I am a novice when it comes to legal matters, but that is showing you not only is ANSI ANAB liable as underwriters, but it shows you the FAA is breaking their own rules. Do you see that? By them giving regulatory authority to Boeing in 2009 and then backpedaling 10 years later and say we don't self-certify. There's something wrong, ladies and gentlemen. I'll tell you something. They have to clean this shit up before I would get on a plane. 203-556-1493 or Daryl, DARYL, @yahoo.com. And I say this humbly, that we have to do something about this because the new guy at Boeing, Robert Kelly Ortberg, ain't gonna do shit. Unless they get me on board in the arena of quality.